Hello, everyone. Today we're going to do a 30-minute slow, gentle flow. So start to grab your props if you have them. Maybe if you use blocks or books instead of blocks. Maybe grab a blanket or a throw from the couch. Give your pets some lovin'. And then we'll go ahead and get started in a comfortable seat. Once your seat is grounded down to the mat, try turning the palms face down on the knees or the thighs. This can create a feeling of groundedness in the body. We'll lengthen the spine. We'll relax the shoulders away from the ears. Close the eyes if that feels okay. And then bring your awareness onto the breath. We breathe over 20,000 times a day, which is wild. But rarely are we really, truly conscious and aware of the breaths that we're taking. So, we're going to try to practice being aware of the breath here. So, with the eyes closed, just feel the inhale coming in through the nose, to the throat, to the chest, into the belly. On the exhale, feel the breath lifting up out of the chest, the throat, and the nose. And take slow, deep breaths here. And we'll start to layer on some movement with the breath so that we can warm up the spine. Inhale, ground the palms to your shins, press the heart forward, start to lift the chin, and then exhale, press the heart back to the wall behind you, round the spine. Inhale, belly and heart come forward, chin lifts. Exhale, shrink back, drop chin towards chest. Inhale, roll the spine forward. Exhale, roll the spine back. So this is like our seated cat and cow. We're going to move with the breath here. And if you have the tendency to glaze over this part of the practice, see if you can feel each movement through the whole body. Let your attention stay right here on the breath, on the movement of the spine. And take one more round of breath. And then after your next exhale, come into a neutral spine. Shift forward onto hands and knees, tabletop position. And then from here, we'll stretch those right toes far back and reach the left hand forward. Feel the low belly engage. Maybe float the right toes. Inhale, stretch the limbs apart. And then exhale, use your core around the spine, draw knee to elbow. Inhale, hand and foot reach away from each other. Use your core, knee to elbow. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, draw the limbs together. And then we'll inhale, lengthen the limbs back out. On your exhale, left hand to the left, right foot to the right. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, take the limbs off to the side. One more time. Inhale through center. Left hand left, right foot right. Gate pose. We're going to start to lift the chest up over the hips. Right foot stays grounded to the mat. Inhale, take the right arm up. We'll flow with the breath. So on the exhale, we're pulling the right arm to the right thigh. Left arm reaches up. And then we'll inhale, left hand to the left hip. Right arm stretches to the left. Inhale over to the right. Exhale, side bend to the left. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to the right. Side bend to the left. Inhale to the right, and then start to lift up through center. We'll drop hands and knees to the mat, find your tabletop. This time the left toes reach back, right hand reaches forward, gather through the low belly, start to float the left toes up off the mat. Inhale, reach apart. Exhale, knee to elbow, round the spine. Inhale, limbs lengthen. Exhale, round the spine. Use your belly to draw elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. And then inhale, lengthen. This time, right hand to the right, left foot to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Right hand to the right, left foot to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Take the limbs out to the side. Lengthen, breathe in. To the side, breathe out. Gate pose. We'll drop the left foot down to the mat. And then send the hips forward over the right knee. Inhale, left arm reaches up and over to the right. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh, right arm up. Inhale, tip it over to the right. Exhale, windmill arms to the left. Inhale through center over to the right. Exhale to the left. Inhale over to the right. Exhale over to the left. Inhale, come through center. And then ground hands and knees, tabletop position. Start to spread the fingertips apart. Really press through both palms. Tuck the toes. Take the seat back towards the heels. And then downward facing dog. Start to straighten through the legs. Keep the knees soft though, and then pedal out the feet. Maybe raise and lower each leg. We'll find a little bit of movement here. Keep this down dog soft. So you can keep the elbows bent. Keep the knees bent. A little bit more movement here, whatever feels right to you. And then inhale, come forward into plank pose. Slide the shoulders over the wrist. Exhale into child's pose, seat to heels. Take a long breath in. Stay here on the breath out. Inhale onto hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, shift forward, hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, child's pose. One full round of breath here in child's pose. And then inhale, tabletop. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, float the right heel high. Exhale, step the right foot between the hands. Come onto fingertips, press the heart forward, slide right knee over right ankle, and then drop the left knee to the mat. Now, option to slide your throw blanket underneath that grounded knee. And that can just give you a little bit of cushion. And then we'll take our proposal pose. So we lift the chest, stack hands on top of the forward thigh, engage the low belly. And then press the hips forward, keeping the belly engaged. This will stretch the front of the left leg. Add hands up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. And then we'll add some movement with our breath by pulling the bow for a twist. So you'll see what we mean here. We're going to inhale, reach the hands up. Left arm comes forward, right arm pulls back. Inhale, come up, and then twist, left hand forward, right arm back. Inhale, come up, left hand forward, right arm back, twist. Inhale, come up, and then ground the hands down. Maybe grab hold of your blocks or books if you have them nearby. We'll start to walk the hands back as we straighten into the right leg for our half splits. Now, if you don't have blocks, you can rest fingertips down on the mat. Right toes are going to be flexed back towards the face. This helps us lengthen through the hamstring or the back of the right leg. And try to keep the hips in the center of the mat instead of pressing over to one side or the other. Breathe here. And then start to bend into the right knee. Take the hands forward to frame the right foot. And downward facing dog. Step the right foot back. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, stay here. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, float the left heel up. Exhale, use your core. Step the left foot between the hands. Come on to fingertips. Press the heart forward. And then proposal pose. Maybe cushion the right knee as you drop it to the mat. We'll stack hands on top of the forward thigh to lift the chest. And then feel the low belly knitting together and slightly up. Add the hands up overhead. We'll breathe here, letting the front of the right leg or the right hip flexor open. Really connect with your breath before we add in our twisting movement. So stay here and breathe. And then inhale, reach both hands up. Right arm reaches forward, pull the left hand back, twist. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, twist, right arm forward, left arm back. Inhale, both hands reach up. Last time for the twist. Inhale, take both arms up and then sweep hands down to the mat or to your blocks. We'll start to straighten through the left leg. Left toes are flexing back towards your nose. And then try to keep the chest slightly lifted here so that we can lengthen through the spine. That left hip is tractioning back into space. Right hip point stays forward so that our hips are square to the top of the mat. Breathe here. Start to bend into the left knee. Downward facing dog. Lift the hips. We'll find our flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tabletop position. And then as you shift forward onto hands and knees, find a neutral spine. We'll do just a little bit of core work here. So start to stretch the right foot to the back edge of the mat. Keep the toes tucked. Tuck the toes on the left foot as well. Breathe in. On your exhale, pick up the left knee to hover. Maybe float the left toes up. Keep the shoulders forward over the wrists. Breathe. And then tabletop, come back into hands and knees. Stretch the left foot far back. Tuck those left toes and then tuck the right toes as well. Breathe in, pick up the right knee to hover. Maybe pick up the right toes. So spine stays long here, shoulders stay forward over the wrists. And then tabletop position, back to hands and knees. Child's pose, shift the seat over the heels, bring the chest and forehead down, breathe. Start to lift up slowly. And we're going to come onto our blanket. So we want the blanket to support our bottom and it'll lift our hips about an inch or half an inch up above the mat. So we're going to take the edge of our tush right to the edge of the blanket and then see if that blanket lifting the hips can help you roll the pelvis forward slightly. Take the feet wide apart. Keep the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And then with a long spine, start to hinge forward between the feet. So you may not come forward very far. In fact, it may feel like you're just staying upright. But as we rock the torso forward, we keep the thighs grounding down. We keep the feet pointing up towards the ceiling. So we have this very slight external rotation of the legs. That's what's going to give us an inner thigh stretch here. So breathe here into the inner thighs. And then slowly start to walk the hands back in, lift the chest. And we'll close the legs, bringing the feet together. Maybe give the legs a little wiggle. And then come off of the blanket so that we're sitting down on the mat. I'm going to mirror you guys for this next part. So you'll start to pull that left leg in towards your chest and then take the left foot over the right thigh. Inhale, pull your chest towards your knee. Exhale, right arm is going to grab hold of that knee. Left hand's going to come to the mat behind you. Now inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist. Roll that left shoulder open. Maybe start to take the chin towards the shoulder. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist. Pull the knee in towards the chest towards the knee. Keep those left toes grounded. And then come through center. We'll pull the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Ground both thighs down. Make sure your sitting bones are still contacting the earth. And then inhale, reach up. Nose towards the toes. Reach out past your foot and then let the hands come down. Hands can rest on your calf, your ankle, your foot, or down to the mat. Send your breath into the back of that extended leg as we lengthen the hamstrings. Begin to lift the torso. And then open the right leg out to the right. Pull the left heel in towards your body. Lengthen the spine, draw the chest up, reach hands overhead. And then we'll tip over to the right, dropping that right forearm onto our thigh or down to the mat in front of the right leg. Now we're stretching through the left side body, and this stretch comes from grounding the left sit bone down and then stretching the left shoulder up and over to the right. And start to come through center. And take both legs out long. We'll take the other side. Remember, I'm going to mirror you. So you'll pull your right knee in towards the chest and then step that right foot over the left thigh. Inhale, pull the knee towards your chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, left arm is going to hug that right knee. Right hand comes to the mat behind you. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, we twist. So inhale, ground through the sits bones, but lengthen the spine up. Exhale, twist. Knee is coming in towards the chest. Maybe take the gaze towards the back of the mat. After your next exhale, gently come through center, undoing the twist. We'll take that right foot to the inside of the left leg. Feel both sits bones grounding down, lengthen the spine, reach the hands up, and then nose to toes, reach hands out past the foot, and then let hands come down to the foot, ankle, shin, or to the mat. And start to lift the torso. Open the left leg out to the left. Keep the right heel in towards your body. Consciously ground the sits bones down so that you can lengthen the spine up. And then we'll tip it over to the left. So the left forearm is going to come down. The right forearm is stretching over to the left side of the mat. We're breathing here into this right side body so the stretch can be intense. Try to slow your breath down. Try to feel this pose fully. And then start to come back up through center. We'll take both legs out long, carefully. Pull the inner ankles together. And then rock the pelvis forward, coming onto the sits bone so that you can lengthen the spine. One more time. We'll add the arms up overhead and then forward fold. Nose is coming towards the toes. Hands reach forward and then come down. Just one more round of breath here. And then we'll reach out past our feet, strong core, lift up, and then float hands down by the sides. We're going to move into our supported fish pose, and this is where a blanket will come in really handy. So we want to roll this blanket into a bundle that is going to support our shoulders and upper back when we lay down over it. So we want it maybe 6 inches or 8 inches wide. And that bundle is going to come right across the bottom of the shoulder blades. So we'll carefully start to lay down over our blanket bundle. We want our chest to be lifted here. So that blanket is underneath the shoulder blades, which is going to lift the chest up. And then hands open wide. That'll deepen the stretch across our chest. Now, as for the feet, you can keep the feet grounded to the mat or take butterfly legs, bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall apart. Try to let your body soften here. Try to relax the back of the head all the way down to the mat. This is a vulnerable position. It can feel a little vulnerable to have your chest so open and broad and proud and lifted. So try to just embrace that vulnerability here. Try to let your body soften. Let the knees get heavy towards the mat. Let gravity do the work of stretching the inner thighs if your feet are in butterfly pose. We'll take several more rounds of breath here so that we can really embrace this practice of letting go, of just letting ourselves be. And then carefully bring the knees together if they were apart. Return the soles of the feet to the mat. And then tuck the chin in towards the chest. Rock up onto the forearm so that you can remove your blanket. And we'll lower all the way down onto the back. Take the feet apart. Let the baby toes spin to the outer edges of the mat. We'll find our Shavasana. And before we drift right off into Shavasana, let's do a little breathing exercise together. We'll use a mantra to slow the breath down and to calm the fluctuations of the mind. So take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Inhale, think to yourself, I choose. Exhale, think to yourself to let go. Inhale, I choose. Exhale to let go. I choose to let go. I choose to let go. You can stay with this mantra or start to let it dissolve out of your mind, bringing thoughts into stillness. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Find subtle movements in the body. And then carefully, when you feel ready, reach the arms up and overhead. Pull the knees in towards the chest. And then either stay here on your back or roll over to one side, staying curled up, maybe resting your head in your arm. We'll pause here to acknowledge this transition in our practice as we leave behind this isolated physical practice of yoga that happens on our mat, and we move into the living practice of yoga, which happens when we step off of our mats and into our lives. Make your way slowly into a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes closed if that feels okay. And then once we're upright, we'll rest one hand on our chest, one hand on our belly, and take a long breath in and a slow breath out. One more long inhale and exhale. And then start to bring hands together in front of the heart and bow chin down towards the fingertips. This bow is just an acknowledgement, a nod to yourself for giving yourself this kindness, this time on your mat today. Traditionally, yogis believe that we all have this same shared light or love or energy. I think of it as a shared humanity. And when we're able to recognize this shared humanity, that's how we all become one. And this idea is called namaste. So take a long breath in, a long breath out, and namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me.